You know, last time we had you on talking about the elections, we had 970,000 views, actually 180,000 views on YouTube alone, when you changed from the Democratic Party where you left them. So every time I go somewhere, then they go, what is Alan going to be voting for? Is he going to be voting for Trump finally? So that's my question to you. Are you finally ready to make the commitment this short time before Election Day?
I'm not going to disclose my vote. I am going to disclose that I have not endorsed a candidate. Really, for the first time in many years, I have refused to endorse Kamala Harris. I can't support her. And I have not endorsed Donald Trump, and I'm not going to disclose my vote. One of the reasons I'm not disclosing my vote is there have really been threats and efforts to try to take recriminations against me and my family if I vote a certain way. And so I'm going to take advantage of the constitutional right of every voter to cast a secret ballot. But I'm not a Democrat. I'm going to vote for candidates based on their particular merits. And I'm not going to vote for the Democrats in order to secure a Democratic majority in the House or the Senate. No, I'm only going to vote for which candidate is best for America, for world peace, and for Israel. I am voting based on Hillel's admonition, Emein ani li mili. I've spent most of my life on the second part of that. If I am for myself alone, what am I? I'm now becoming much more a part of, I'm going to vote in the interests of American Jews, of Israeli Jews, of what I believe are the principles and values that I've defended and supported all of my life.
So if I were you and I was quoting you, I'd say you just set the case of why you will be voting for Donald Trump, because Israel is the paramount issue.
Made the case that I'm not going to disclose my vote. I'm not going to endorse Donald Trump, and I'm not going to endorse Kamala Harris. Look, Donald Trump has said some things that I just don't agree with. And what I worry more about is Kamala Harris has and President Biden has put restrictions on Israel. If not for the current administration, I think Israel would have bombed the nuclear facilities and the oil facilities of Iran and would have brought Iran to its knees. And Iran is now threatening to retaliate against Israel because they know that Biden and Harris will prevent Israel from responding. So under no circumstances can I support a Democratic victory or can I support Harris in this election. But I have hesitations about endorsing Trump as well, and my vote will be secret.
Right. But you pretty much outlined, forgive me, but by saying Israel, listen, nobody's perfect. And Donald Trump, you can say, I know you heard you say you don't like his domestic agenda, you like the Democrats' agenda. But at the end of the day, if Israel is paramount, people have no choice. Even the Satmar Rebbe, who doesn't endorse candidates, endorsed Donald Trump just the other day in Monroe, New York.
I understand that. And if I were a Hasidic Rebbe, I'd probably do the same thing because I'd have an obligation to tell my Hasidim who to vote for. But I'm just an 86-year-old retired law professor, and I have to live with my wife and my family. My wife has voted for Harris. My children, I think, will vote for Harris. I am an individual. And I'll make up my own decision, but I'm not going to disclose it.
Are you going to tell your wife who you voted for?
You'll have to ask her.
All right, I will next Shabbat dinner anyway. But no, it's an interesting thing. What bothers me, by the way, is that the Tim Walz is running for vice president was together with AOC and said he'd like to see a speaker of the House, which got very little attention, but that's very worrisome. Somebody like an AOC who's so anti-Israel is cozied up to by somebody running for vice president. It disturbs me greatly, I'll be honest with you.
Disturbs me greatly. Look at Michael Moore. Michael Moore is an out-and-out overt anti-Semite. The guy who wrote, made those films. You should have seen him on CNN today talking about Israel and killing civilians and killing children. Not a word about October 7th. And Michael Moore is high up in the Democratic Party. And so if you vote for the Democrats, you're voting for Michael Moore. You're voting for AOC. You're voting for Bernie Sanders. It's turned out to be one of the most self-hating Jewish senators in modern history. And so I agree with those who say they can't be associated with the Democratic Party. I cannot be associated with the Democratic Party. I can be associated with some members of the Democratic Party, and I will vote for some members of the Democratic Party. If I were in Massachusetts, I could not vote for Liz Warren. In New York, I would have a problem voting for Chuck Schumer. He's been so hypocritical on Israel and on Jewish issues. He calls himself, Shomer Yisrael, but actually the word Schumer is German, not Hebrew, and it means something very negative in German. And it's not Shomer. He has not been the Shomer Yisrael. He has been the Shomer Schumer.
And Shomer Yishmael, some people say.
Yeah.
By the way, his recent statement to the Columbia University that they don't have to worry about the Jewish students and ignore what's happening is getting a lot of outrage.
And it should. And, let him talk about it. And he hasn't talked about it. Look, Schumer has always been everything to everybody. He was going to vote for the Iran deal, but he got permission from Biden to vote against it only after they had enough votes to vote for it. He's been a hypocrite and a phony for years. And, you have guys like James Carville, who's an out and out bigot. James Carville, who's so active in the Democratic Party, he basically says, if you're in favor of truth or if you're in favor of due process, oh my God, that's going to hurt the Democrats and the Democrats have to win the election. He is closer to having a kind of totalitarian ideology than anybody on the Republican Party. So I'm very worried about people who are high up in the Democratic Party, including, as I said, Michael Moore and Bernie Sanders and James Carville. These are not good people.
No, they're not. And just even AOC and all these people that are getting really, like you said, at the Democratic National Convention, getting top billing, even if they don't say a word about Israel, it's really raising their status. So when they do speak about Israel, it has more oomph.
You're absolutely right. And so I urge everybody who cares about Israel to quit the Democratic Party, disassociate themselves from the Democratic Party, and then vote for who you think is best for the country, but don't vote along party lines. I mean, I'm the first person probably in the history of my family ever not to be a Democrat, and including all the members of my current family. But go back to my parents and my grandparents; they were all Democrats. But as Ronald Reagan said, he didn't leave the Democratic Party; the Democratic Party left him. You can't be in favor of AOC and Alan Dershowitz at the same time. Sorry, no tent is big enough for that, and I refuse to be in a tent with Bernie Sanders, AOC, Liz Warren, and the other Israel haters.
So how does your family take it if they find out, for example, that you voted for Donald Trump? How will they take it? Because you're going to be the lone voice.
They're not going to find out. Look, they would like me to have not only voted for Kamala Harris, but to have endorsed Kamala Harris. I cannot do that, and I will not do that.
By the way, have you gotten more? I mean, listen, we had a lot of positive reaction when you were on talking about leaving the Democratic Party, almost 1 million viewers and 44,000 likes. And I read a lot of the comments. People are very supportive and they're saying it's about time. You have a lot of support out there. But what have you been finding since you made that pronunciation and in all likelihood will vote for Donald Trump? Have you found people have been receptive or more people have been attacking you for it?
Attacking me, much more attacking me over. Look, the day I defended Donald Trump, even though I voted against him and I voted for his opponents, but when I defended Donald Trump, for example, I was a very close friend of the owner of the Boston Red Sox, John Henry. He used to invite me to his box. We spent election night together when Obama won the election. He invited me on his boat. He invited me on his airplane. He always sat next to me at baseball games. The day I defended Donald Trump on the floor of the United States Senate, he never spoke to me again, never allowed me into the owner's box at the Red Sox. And, I'm still a Red Sox fan.
By the way, what do you think about the legal woes that New York City Mayor Eric Adams is facing?
Well, he's presumed innocent. I want to hear the evidence. I want to see what it looks like. It's so easy to bring lawsuits these days. And even to bring indictments. Look at the indictment against Donald Trump, which resulted in a conviction for something that isn't a crime. I've been teaching and writing about criminal law for 60 years. I think I know the subject pretty well. And I can't understand the charges against Donald Trump in the New York case. And so we'll have to wait and see what the Adams case brings about.
So when I mentioned that fact to a prominent New York Democratic lawyer, very prominent, he said, "Oh, Alan Dershowitz, he's like so into Trump that he's ignoring the law."
Well, first of all, I'm not into Trump. I've never voted for Trump in my life. And second of all, I'm into the law. And I challenge him, put him on the show with me. I challenge him to explain to anybody what the charges against him are. I don't understand those charges. They're just not there. They're made up.
I think that'll be a future program where we can discuss it.
Happy to do it.
Terrific. It's always a pleasure to have you on the air with us.
You do a great job, and I'm so always pleased to be on. And keep calling me Avi. You know, all my old friends from Borough Park still call me Avi. I spoke to him today. I've only known my friend Carl. I've only known him now for about 84 years. Our parents walked us together in Williamsburg in a baby carriages. That's how long I've known Carl. And he called me today. We're going to have lunch on Sunday. And he said, "Hey, Avi, how are you?" As soon as people say Avi, I know how long they've known me for.
And I think you have the Kelman family in the Upper West Side of Manhattan go back with you.
Yeah, Ira calls me Avi all the time.
Ira, right.
And Ira writes to me all the time and says, "How can you be supporting Trump? How can you be supporting Trump?" You know, so I fight with a lot of my old friends. I think of my 8 old friends, 7 of whom are still alive. I think 2 probably are for Trump. 1 won't disclose me, and the others are all for Harris.
But they still talk to you. That's a good
They
part.
talk to me, unlike the people on Martha's Vineyard or the owner of the Boston Red Sox.
Wow. Shame you can't sue them, right?
I don't want to sue them. I want to just have the marketplace of ideas open to everybody so everybody's views can be heard.
That's gone out the window in America.
It's going out the window, and I think if the Democrats win, it'll go out the window more. They are the party of refresh. James Carville, in a post, talks about how terrible it is that people are interested in the truth. People like me are interested in the truth, are interested in due process instead of just having the Democrats win. That's what so many on the hard left of the Democratic Party are in favor of. They're much closer to a totalitarian mindset than people on the right.
Absolutely. It's fascism of the left.
Well, I don't like to use the term fascism, but totalitarianism is a good term. I like to limit, Nazi analogies, because what the Nazis did was so much worse than anything. People who compare, Trump to Hitler or the Republicans to Nazis are essentially Holocaust deniers. They're saying that what happened between 1941 and 1945 is no worse than what's going on today, and that's wrong.
It's throwing out the garbage. That's really what it is. It's throwing out the sea. Instead of fighting on ideas, they're fighting on saying this person's a Hitler, he's a demon, his followers are garbage. It's not the way to really conduct it.
Guys are engaged in too much name calling, both sides.
Professor, I'm looking forward. Will you disclose your vote after the election?
We'll see.
Thank you for watching. If you like this content, you like our programs, please like and subscribe, as it helps the channel get these important conversations out there to a larger audience. So please become a supporter of Talkline with Zev Brenner by liking us, by supporting us, and telling all your friends to watch. Thank you.